We don't need to turn ice into stone or stone into water. We don't need to give ritual blessings to anyone or perform any miracles or demonstrate supernatural feats. There are no miracles or supernatural feats in existence. I have seen it precisely. Even today, there are millions of people trapped in the vicious cycle of curse and grace. So we had left yesterday about how a lot of people are in still awe of supernatural things and getting blessings. In fact, as we speak, we have the Mahakumbh going on, and it's a great epic event which happens in India. And I think, unfortunately, I think it was yesterday or today morning, some of people got trampled, and in fact, some people even died in that. So it's again something that is very unfortunate, but it did happen today. So yes, we are seeing that Babaji has seen that precisely, that there is no such thing as curse or grace. It's all based on our understanding of nature and its intrinsic laws. And if we are in tune or in alignment with them, we will always have the good fortune is not the right word, but we will always be prosperous. That's what I believe. Okay. There is only one answer to this. The moment we take a single step in the direction of awakening, from that moment, all the curse, remorse, and sin gets shattered. So it's a very grave statement, and it's a very bold statement that Babaji is saying. He is saying that once we take that first step towards our own awakening, in the direction of our awakening, we will clear all of our curse, we will rid of our remorse, and the sin gets shattered. So very, very bold statement that no religion has even claimed this. Most of the religions that we have are always speaking of thousands of lifetimes before we can clear our sins, and we should be pious even in this life, so that we can be achieving enlightenment. But here it is saying that one step towards it and all is shattered. All the sins get shattered. There's no such curse on you or no remorse that you have to worry about. No taint of these remains. This can be illustrated by the analogy of how we learn mathematics. One could do a math question wrong 1,000 times, but once one has learned to do it right, then it becomes right for one's whole life. So usually in the Parichishivaras, if you are aware of them, what happens is that we are taught that 2 plus 2 is 4, but the system or the nature or the way the education system is doing it right now, it is telling us what 2 plus 2 is not equal to. It is not going to the jnana that the Jeevan needs, but it is going to the systematic development of pleasures of the senses or the pleasures of the tastes, and then it's just getting lost in this. The whole cycle of humanity is led towards the pleasure of the senses, which are inevitably diminishable. So this is where it comes that once you know what 2 plus 2 is, you will know it for your whole life. As long as one keeps making mistakes, each mistake is different until one learns the right method. So here it's saying that we are here it's he's summarizing that we are actually doing mistakes all our life. We are trying to look for happiness, and we are trying to knock on the wrong doors. If a math problem is given to a million children and they all solve it correctly, they will all arrive at the same answer. So again, he's talking about correctly solving it. You can see here, I'm just going to highlight here. So when you solve it correctly, everybody arrives at the right answer. If they all get it wrong, we could get a million different wrong answers. Any common person can easily do this survey. With this, I discovered one more formula. We humans are united in the right and divided in the wrong. So this statement again is actually is a bold statement and is a very a very true statement. We are one when it comes to the righteousness or the right, and divided in the wrong. So it is just simply put there, and it is the one of the golden nuggets that Babaji has come up with. No, rather discovered, actually, not even come up with, but he has discovered this nugget. Existence has only two kinds of realities. First, there are things that can be counted as units, which we call nature. Second, there is a reality that pervades everywhere, which everyone can understand in a moment. Each unit of nature is soaked, surrounded, and submerged in this second reality. So here, the first reality is actually, I believe, what he's saying is, when he says units, I believe he is meaning atoms, and which we can call nature. And second, there is a reality that pervades everywhere. So in the second nature, he is speaking of space now, which anyone can understand in a moment. Each unit of nature, which is basically atoms or combination of atoms or compounds, where you can say cluster of compounds and material, basically material order. Each unit of nature is soaked, surrounded, and submerged in this second reality. This can be called omnipresence. There are two kinds of real entities: units, insentient and sentient. Sentient entities mean animal kind and humankind, and insentient entities mean material order and biological order. So even the units are, again, as he's saying here, there is called something called sentient, and then sentient means something that has, if I'm not mistaken, something has Jeevan. Am I right? Can I?
Yes, Chaitanya.
Chaitanya. Okay. And then there is the insentient entities that doesn't have a Jivan, which is basically the biological order and the material order. The biological order, by here it means the trees and plants, and units that are not having a Jivan. Insentient entities include all the minerals. So see, as I was describing it, it is now actually expounding on it. So I think when we read it, we'll always get the answers in the second line. Insentient entities include all the minerals, soils, metals, and formations of biological cells. All of these are soaked, submerged, and surrounded in omnipresence. Now, the word soaked, submerged, and surrounded, I think it is a little bit confusing maybe for some people, when we can just see as an atom, a structure of an atom, there is some space in between the electrons that are moving, and or like for the orbits that the electrons are moving, and the nucleus or the center of the atom. There is a lot of space in between. And that means that the atoms are soaked and submerged and surrounded in omnipresence. So that's what the meaning is of this space. That space is actually inside the atom, because obviously the atom is not a solid, or it doesn't have any structure that is a solid structure, but the atom is soaked, surrounded, and submerged in the space. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the space is so high, something like above 99% of the space. Can somebody correct me if I'm wrong? I think it is is something like 99% of the uh, part of an atom is actually space. I might be wrong, but basically, I think the way it is defined in a book once I read, it's as if the football field, the whole of a football field, is an atom, and you look at the center of it, and the football is placed in the center. That is the size of the nucleus, and the electron is the size of a pea, which is running at a very, like, more than lightning speed, and it is going around the football field, the whole of the stadium. It is going around the stadium, and it is the size of the pea. So that is the first atom. The hydrogen atom is, this is a structure. If you zoom in, this is how the structure is. So obviously in the middle there is a lot of space. And so this space can be said to be the 99%. The atom is just empty. There's nothing inside it. But the space, it
It
is,
is
hmm.
it is
Yes,
said
Shalin.
to be 99.99%.
Right. So there we are. More than 99%, just empty space is in all the atoms. In fact, even the solid things that you are seeing right here are actually made of atoms, but just because of the speed of the electrons that are traveling, and they are in orderliness because they are submerged. Shali, am I right?
Yes. Keep speaking. Yes.
Yes. So when the something is in submerged in space, it is having its own orderliness. When it is soaked in space, it is having its own energy. So like if something is inside something else, it is getting its energy from it. So when the atoms are soaked inside the space, they are getting the energy. The electrons are getting the energy to flow or move around rather, and the protons and the neutrons in the middle are also having that cohesiveness, and that is because that is they are surrounded by. If I'm not mistaken, Shalini, am I right?
Let me, I guess I can take
Ah,
this.
ah,
So there is a word called sampraktata in Hindi,
hmm,
and sampraktata means duba bhiga ghira.
hmm.
And from that, this is the translation of duba, bhiga, and ghira. Soaked means duba, submerged means bhiga, and surrounded means ghira. Soaked means uh, duba, है ना? Just give me a minute. There's a call.
Okay. So yeah, just when she, if she can come back till then, I'm just saying the soaked is the atoms
Okay, I'm
are,
here. Uh,
okay,
uh. So soaked means duba, and because it is soaked, it is active. It is kriyashil. That's how we understand, and it is very easy to keep it in your mind or in your memory. See, for example, if I throw you in the swimming pool, and if you start like अगर आप डूबने लगो, then what would you do? You will be active. So it is just to just to keep it in the memory.
a
So
very
soaked
vivid,
due
a
to
very vivid memory, I must say. Yes.
yes, yes. So soaked uh, due to uh, due to this, because these are soaked, the Parmanu Ansh is soaked, so it is active. And submerged means bhiga. Bhiga, due to bhiga, it is urja sampann. And due to urja sampann, it is bal sampann. And surrounded means ghira hua. So you can imagine, like, police has surrounded you. So, if somebody has surrounded you, so that means they have control over you. And that's why Niyantran is seen because the Parmanu Ansh is surrounded. है ना?
Okay.
तो इस
So
तरीके
the
से हम इसको
space,
इमेजिन कर सकते हैं. This is just to keep the things in memory
yeah,
because it
because
is
Didi,
so, it is
yeah,
Didi,
yeah.
I
active.
think
हाँ जी.
soaked means what you are saying?
डूबा.
डूबा नहीं
Submerged.
होगा. Submerged means डूबा होगा दीदी.
Submerged means डूबा.
Yes,
ठीक है.
yes.
Soaked means भीगा.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
है ना? तो yes,
हम्म.
and I connect it like that. तो
Hmm.
डूबा भीगा and घिरा. So
Hmm.
that's how it is easy to keep in memory because it is duba.
Ah,
So because of duba, it is kriyashil. Because it is ghira, so it is
ah,
in niyantran.
hmm.
And because it is क्या हो गया डूबा भीगा भीगा इज सोक्ड है ना तो
Ah,
भीगा की वजह से इट इज ऊर्जा संपन्न लाइक
right.
दैट.
Uh, so yeah, I believe we got it right. And the reason that this was important to define and to understand is because every atom that we see is acting in orderliness. And the question then arises that how come it is active and how come it is in orderliness and how come it is having energy. So this is the reason that all these three factors are applying to the atoms. And yes, so we'll continue now. Each unit of nature is soaked, surrounded, and submerged in this second reality. This can be called omnipresence. So this is the second reality is being defined as omnipresence. There are two kinds of entities, units, insentient and sentient. Sentient entities mean animal kind and humankind, and insentient entities mean material order and biological order. Insentient entities include all the minerals, soil, metals, and formations of biological cell. So you will notice that unlike the modern education system, which says that trees are living things, here the biological cells and indeed the trees and plant life are actually just being said without a Jeevan. So we have to be very careful here when we say that they are living things, but here they are just entities that are existing without any sort of, like, of course the functioning of the life is there, but they are not as par with that, they don't have a Jeevan. That must be understood. All of these are soaked, submerged, and surrounded in omnipresence. I have seen this precisely. There is no provision in existence to separate units of nature from omnipresence. Uh, so this sentence is also important. We cannot say that, is my document visible? I just realized. Yeah, okay. So there is no provision in existence to separate units from nature, units of nature from omnipresence. So everything is inside this omnipresence, or everything is inside space. That's what it is meaning. Humans cannot create that for which there is no provision in existence. I think it's just that simple meaning of that, that we cannot create something that there is no provision for it in existence. If humans accomplish anything contrary to the usefulness of what is provisioned in existence, it results in nothing but devastation. For instance, we used so many resources for war, but we could accomplish nothing other than destruction of earth and humans through this. So, when we think of doing something which is not in orderliness, that will just create destruction. This is another very interesting sentence. We feel we want to accomplish X number of goals by X number of years and X number of resources. But ultimately, if we don't know what is the meaning of existence, why is existence as such, the way we see it, we don't know the reality which is coexistence, and we just go about doing the things that we wish, mindful wishing or wishful thinking rather, then we will just create destruction. This is again a very interesting conclusion that we are seeing. um, Perhaps the scientific community is slowly recognizing this. If they had recognized it sooner, humans could have become happy and prosperous. Perhaps it was bound to happen in this way. Like the river that crosses many banks before it meets the ocean, first humans had to go through mystical idealism, but the relief found here proved insufficient. That after that, they found themselves in the clutches of materialism again. So, I believe what Babaji is saying is that mystical idealism is basically all sort of religions that we are seeing. Most of the religions, humans have already tried to sort of control the human being through that, but all has come out from it is a systematic hierarchy, or at best we could have orderliness through control, which is actually not the ideal way of controlling human. A human being can only understand, and that's how he can be in niyantran, or in control of himself or herself. But the relief found here proved insufficient. So even in materialism, when he went to materialism, he soon realized that this is just pleasures of the senses. Whatever the materialistic world gives us is momentary pleasures. And a great sentence that I'm recalling is that what we are defining by markets today is to create variety, so that we can keep on indulging into the materialistic fantasies or the materialistic uh, sensations again and again, or we are creating, the markets are creating products that have an elongated pleasure value. So, for example, you will see that they will create a mall which has all the things. That have a food buffet there. They would have something for the kids. They would have something for the adults. They would have something for to see, to hear, to smell. There might be a perfumery there also. They all kind of thing. There's a massage chair maybe also inside the mall. So these are all the ways to keep you entangled, rather, to get the pleasure from the material world or the sensory pleasures, and that's what the also has proved insufficient. After that, they found themselves in the clutches of materialism again. The relief that they found here also proved inadequate in terms of happiness and prosperity. This is the painful situation of today. So we are also seeing that India is doing good in GDP value, and yet at the same time, we are seeing that people are divided in their families. The happiness quotient, if you ask any person, especially a person who is in their days of university or who are going to graduate soon, their future is actually un and actually it's not easily described. Their future is not easily panned down. So they are actually having this anxiety because everybody was driven through competition, and the competition, some of them failed in the competition. Those even who have passed the competition have to go through again now the job or the seeking of the job. And we are aware now in today's day and age how the artificial intelligence is proving to be more efficient, and that's how it's also creating this kind of anxiousness in the new generation of today. So this is also again same, it's reflecting the same idea. This is the painful situation of today. We didn't find complete relief from either of these, and so naturally there is a need for a third step. In this way, the answer that I found to the question of bandhan and moksha is humans become liberated from bondage upon becoming wise. Okay, so we are talking about bondage and how to get be away from bondage here, and that is through becoming wise. So in Hindi words, I would say ज्ञान संपन्न हो जाना है ना, if I'm right.
Yes.
Yes, great. Now, how can one become wise? In the course of examining what I had seen, I asked what the delusion could I have? Sorry, I asked what delusion do I have? I explored within myself, I verified within myself, and I found that there is no cause of bondage within me. So, why not work so that this state arises in everyone? What would it be like if this happens? Okay, so he has reached a stage where he has seen everything. He has seen all the entities submerged in omnipresence, and he's now looking at what kind of bondage he has inside him. And he's saying is that I don't have any bondage within me. That feeling that he has right now, and I'm sure it's sort of a very happy feeling. He's saying, so why not works so that this state arises in everyone? What would it be like if this happens? Then the proclamation that I had shared with you will come true. Earth will become heavenly, humans will become deities, dharma will prevail, and goodness will be eternal. So this is the first lines that we started with the book with. And indeed, when people who live on earth are wise or gyan sampan, they will obviously make a place where they live, which is earth, to become heavenly. So this is very straightforward to understand, but very hard, not even hard, but actually very easy. If we come wise, if we come Gyan Sampan, then we will make this earth our place, and we will realize that it's Jeevan that comes again and again, and Jeevan has no death. Sometimes I feel that a lot of young people are indulging into drugs or going into this kind of pleasure areas that are harming their body, and they are authenticating it with the words, oh, we only live once, and that can be so far from the truth because they are considering their body as themselves, whereas they themselves are actually Jeevan, and Jeevan is eternal, and Jeevan is supposed to be arriving on earth to gain knowledge. And what we are coming up with this simple nonsense of pleasures of the five senses, and we are considering that to be explorative. And then when we explore it, we get indulged into it, we get attached to it, and that's where we see that even the greatest of actors or actresses or singers, have actually died of drug overdoses. So this is a very sad thing that is actually true on this earth right now. The tradition of eternal goodness will be established. Thus, I began examining myself by asking, will I be able to convey this knowledge? Do people have a need for it or not? Thus began what we now know as Jeevan Vidya. So this is nothing but a realization that he's sharing, and now he's sharing it with us with this book and with his fellow people who have lived with him. I would like to point out one more thing here, that the much we do with this book reading, I'm requesting all the members and future listeners of this channel to go and have an acquaintance with those people who have stayed with Babaji, because there is a way of subtle uh, echoing or mirroring of what Babaji was within these people that are there, and it's not so hard to find them. They are still with us. They have stayed with Babaji for many years. They have experienced his clarity, his bliss, his samajikta, or like you can see it evidenced in their lifestyle and the way they live with you, the way they talk with you, the way they, जिसको कहते हैं ना, आप उसके साथ उठेंगे बैठेंगे, if you converse with them, you will see that beauty within them that also Babaji was having. So a glimpse of Babaji, a small sort of, I would say, I'm daring to say this, but small mirrors of what Babaji was can be seen in all these people who had stayed with him. Yeah. The point when I became confident about the Jeevan Vidya program was when I realized that the code of human conduct can be incorporated into the constitution. A human, a humane national character will become evident as a result. I am definite about this. I myself proficient and living evidence of this knowledge. Sorry, I am definite about this. I myself proficient and living evidence of this knowledge. So he's definite about this, that if it is put into the constitution, then there will be, like when it is said to be in the constitution, it affects a lot of places, including the education sector also. So a humane national character will become evident as a result. So we are seeing that how it is also paramount that some of us who are on this journey work towards this end, because it will be that after that what it becomes is every human being who is part of this constitution, this new constitution that Babaji is suggesting, will be uh, a humane national character. Great. Um, Yeah, profit evidence of this knowledge. I have understood existence and I can impart that understanding to you. I have understood Jivan and I can impart that understanding to you. I have understood humane conduct and I can impart that understanding to you. One becomes wise upon understanding these three truths. What happens upon becoming wise? Okay, I'll just go through this again, because I have understood existence means existence is coexistence, coexistence of entities and omnipresence, and I can impart that understanding to you. I have understood Jeevan. Jeevan is what is the experiencer of this coexistence, and I can impart that understanding to you. I have understood humane conduct. Basically, when you are in orderliness with knowledge, how will you become, how you will behave, the humane conduct. If I have understood humane conduct, and I can impart that understanding to you. So this is what it means. um Shalini, I would like your help if by chance I am going off astray. I think I'm getting it right.
Yes.
Great.
Ganesh Bhaiya can also help you, in
Ha
explaining certain things. Yes.
ha ha. Okay. Yes, this is again, I'm conveying it again to the members. We are actually going to be reading this together, and I would welcome all of you to also add and share whenever you feel necessary. There's no foundation. You are not compulsorily on mute. It is, you are open to the forum. You can speak anytime. Yes. One becomes
Ganesh,
liber.
may I suggest something here?
Hmm. Hmm.
I think some other members can also read a little bit if they are interested in reading.
Yeah, that's a good idea actually.
Yeah.
So we have quite a few members today. Who would like to volunteer? I like it when people will just take the charge themselves instead of me calling out their name. The book is visible, I believe, on the screen, or you can just, yeah, we are at this point right now.
I can read.
Yes, Didi, please. Thank you.
One becomes liberated from bondage. What is this bondage? Bondage is the form of delusion. Our ancestors spoke about liberation from the cycle of birth and death. The cycle of birth and death has nothing to do with liberation. Nothing arrives at birth, nor does anything depart with death. All that is exists forever. Jeevan continues to exist even after death, as it does while driving the body. A piece of charcoal continues to exist in other forms even after burning it. The scholars of physics and chemistry would have understood this, and if they haven't, they are bound to, as is everyone else. This is how one arrives at the understanding of truth. At the fundamental level, a reality never gets annihilated. Therefore, if Earth remains healthy, the humans can live in orderliness. This would be the basis of universal and eternal well-being. This wish of mine for universal goodness rests primarily on the principle of humane conduct. Humane conduct is the main pillar on which this wish of mine for universal goodness rests.
Didi, I would like to say something here. When all the entities are being said that are in orderliness, and he is saying that the same was there with the matter, and it is, and since it is so, it stays like that eternally. That's what he's saying here, and this means that it's only after when the human being came and with his disorderly conduct we are having a state of annihilation, slow annihilation. It looks as if the earth is okay, there's nothing wrong with it. We might have some flood somewhere or the other, but at the end of the day there is some annihilation taking place, at least when we look at the species disappearing, the air and water being polluted, and all these kind of things are happening. So definitely a great way of looking at earth if we are resoluted, and definitely it would be a very perfect place to live when we are humane. Yes, Didi, please.
The big benefit from this understanding will be that humans shall live on this earth forever, without wounding it, without tearing its guts apart, and without destroying it. The way of such living also emerges from this very understanding. Earth needs to first heal itself. Whatever untoward events that humans have caused in their history until now, all those are results of their ignorance. Humans inflicted wounds on Earth, tore its guts apart, caused its fever, and deformed its surface in many ways. As a result, rivers and streams got destroyed, air and water became polluted, and we all know the immense suffering it has caused to humans. If Earth suffers, then all of the flora, fauna, and humans that reside upon it are bound to suffer as well. You can very well imagine what kind of people would have envisaged health and happiness by wounding the planet. The silver lining in the cloud is that if we stop disturbing its natural balance, then it is reassuring to know that the resources on Earth's surface are abundant enough for all humans to live on it. Mistakes, crimes, revolts, and rebellions are the outcomes of human ignorance, not understanding, which is evident as the imbalance everywhere. Humans, along with earth, rivers, streams, hills, and forests, have all become imbalanced. We humans committed all these crimes during the scientific age, yet we haven't stopped boasting about science. We think science will find a lasting solution to this situation, even though the human race is on the verge of being wiped out from Earth. We need to pay attention to this. Humans will have to become wise whenever they decide to ever avert this problem. There is no other way. Crimes cannot be controlled through lack of understanding, constitutional means, or otherwise. A crime is still a crime. All the nations on this earth have their perspective, their respective constitutions. Each of these constitutions has three main agendas and a common theme: power centric rule. Power centric rule gets implemented in the form of three activities: stopping one mistake by making another mistake, stopping one crime by committing another crime, and stopping one war by waging another war. Yet, there is no evidence anywhere if these three actions could rid us of crimes. Rather, with every passing day, month, year, century, these three have only been increasing. History is full of accounts of wars becoming fiercer, crimes getting more prevalent, and one mistake leading to another. The pages of history give testimony of this. If we search for the
Yes, Didi, I'll take a pause, ask a pause from you. This is a great understanding also that we have proof that the days that are spent until now, and the history is proof of it, that we have waged wars, we have tore the guts apart of earth and removing the resources. I believe that's what he means by mining the resources that the earth has. And clearly also this means that we have been digging for oil and all this kind of minerals and nutrients that are actually kept underground for their own purpose. There is a purpose for them to be staying there. And yes, Neelam Didi, you want to ask something?
No, you can continue. I'll add on.
Okay. Yeah, so I can maybe ask somebody else to read, or would you like to continue, Didi?
No, okay. I thought you were saying something, so I said that you can continue that. Now,
Ha.
since you're done, Bhaiya, I wanted to add that, from the above sentence, I got one thing that Babaji is so humble enough to also say
Mm.
that science, um, whatever happened in the scientific age,
Mm.
whatever humans did out of ignorance to the earth,
Mm.
and he has that humility to say that it uh, it had to happen like this, like the rivers had to meet till the ocean. So
Mm.
he is being very kind enough to use those words towards the scientists.
Mm.
And what I would also like to add that we missed on, like the science has missed on, like the major part of Vivek that we say, the consciousness.
Mm.
So
Humaneness.
somewhere, sorry,
Humaneness.
the
The conscious.
humaneness.
Ah, great.
Yes. So that was missed. So what I wanted to add is like we can't just blame. I like what Babaji said that,
Mm.
the way he put the words is like whatever science has done also to
Mm.
make us relate or find out or identify the elements
Mm.
or in the lab. So it
Right.
has been a good thing too. But
Mm.
uh, there was a need of understanding. And now, if we have got that understanding, it is very imperative for
Great.
us to, have uh, uh,
The conscious.
importance to yes, to impart that to others as soon as possible, so
Right.
that we don't do. And one more thing Babaji has written is earth has to first heal
Mm.
itself.
Right.
That means whatever we have done, so we have to face some consequences that will be happening, and we are facing also, like
Mm.
climatic changes and stuff.
Right.
So we have to be patient enough to do that.
Mm.
And at least the Vidya Parivar till now, whoever, it's my request to that wherever we are, we also consciously do not add on to the, uh, things like to wastage or the other things that could cause more further destruction. So
Mm.
uh,
Mm,
side by side with the imparting of knowledge,
mm,
it should also be in our conduct that we
mm,
do.
mm.
Like you have initiated about cyclicity of nature.
Right.
So I have seen that you also in your home, how do you live? How do
Mm,
you, promote things? So
mm,
example is that way I was saying that everyone should take that, at least
mm,
whoever have understood this knowledge. Thank you.
mm. Yes, I believe Didi, you have pointed out a very good indicator here, and I believe we can even pause here for today. We are going to discuss two things that you had mentioned: heal the earth and know the humaneness. So, as you had said, that we are actually not doing the right thing by doing or continuing with what we are doing right now. So, I would like to add that when we are let me just yeah. So when we are in this process of doing the right thing, or like rather, let's say we want to stop the plastic, stop the use of oil, stop plastic, stop this. But then this is again 2 plus 2 is 5, or 2 plus 2 is 6. The right thing, for example, if we know it and we can do it for ourselves first, it's the knowledge that we have gained. Are we being the practicers of that, or are we just going out and preaching what we have learned? So the first thing, and I'm very strict about this. If I go out and say something like do rainwater harvesting, am I doing it myself? So yes, I can say that I'm doing it for myself. Every year we collect water and we drink that same water, and by the time, in fact, the tanks are half full right now already, and the rains are going to come soon. That the initiative that you do, I think it has to be echoed within you first. Whatever you learn, what is the beauty, whatever is the balance that you are learning, every day you should be implementing this, because I cannot emphasize this high enough. The moment we start preaching without practicing, that is the worst crime that we can do, and that is indeed what is happening out there. Any NGO that is even slightly towards the righteousness path is actually failing this, because they are themselves maybe driving in big cars or gas guzzling vehicles and trying to feed the poor, and like, why are we not creating ecosystems or giving the knowledge or imparting this, that they can do their own work together or themselves, and being there supporting their work instead of being so helpful? I'm not pointing any fingers, but I'm saying let's be the practicers of what we are going to preach, or not just go on preaching, just work within ourselves. Let us be first knowledgeable ourselves. And when everybody takes upon that monumental task, then the earth automatically becomes resolved, because everybody will start thinking of how the resources can be, or how you are aligned with the resources. And the resources doesn't come a resource, it becomes an orderliness, and you become part of that orderliness. So, two things you mentioned: heal the earth and knowing yourself. I think they are just the same coin with two different sides. That's it. You are going to heal the earth by first know imparting the knowledge to yourself, and that's why the initiative I've taken this by reading it, because every sentence I'm finding, okay, this is worth remembering, this is worth keeping in mind. And yeah, I think I've taken a very early stop from the book, but we had a comment that Rakesh Bhaiya was going to share uh, something about Sayam. Okay, he's on the road, so we'll share tomorrow. Okay, sure. So shall I continue with the reading then? Because that's the only. Anybody else has any questions or any comment that they would like to add? You're most welcome.
Bhaiya, you have explained everything in a very wonderful manner. And also, Neelam Didi also categorically indicated that not only uh, we have to speak on Jeevan Vidya, rather we have to live according to Jeevan Vidya. So that is a very wonderful thing which we have
Mm,
learned today.
mm,
And yes, let us all try to live according to Jeevan Vidya. So
mm.
that will be the better thing rather than to speak about Jeevan
Mm.
Vidya and not to live according to that.
Yes, yes. Babaji, I think once said that जो समझदार है वही जवाबदारी लेगा. Am I right?
जिम्मेदार.
जिम्मेदारी लेगा. Okay.
हम्म,
Yeah. So
जिम्मेदार.
you can see how my Hindi goes, but I am catching the gist of the information. So whoever will be knowledgeable will take the responsibility. Right? That's the right translation, Shalini?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, great. So we have to be knowledgeable, and obviously uh, by by inclination of being knowledgeable, you will be responsible and you will do the right thing. So it's actually I say it like this: we always have the input, process, and output model, but this is all about the process. You are working on the process, and the process is you yourself, based on the book, based on Babaji's darshan, based on Babaji's lifestyle, living style, or his words, the way he lived. Based on that, that is the processing that has to happen within us, and then based on that, you will have the adequate inputs in mind, and then you will have the output. So this is the model basically turned on itself, and the processing come first in this. Yes. So I think I will. Anybody else who would like to read? We are here right now.
Another thing we learned today, that humans become liberated from bondage upon
Hmm.
becoming wise.
Right.
And one of the bondage is that we are unable to understand ourselves. This is delusion. We thought
Hmm.
that we are a body.
Hmm.
And here Babaji has explained that we are not only body, that rather than there is, apart from insentient part, there is a sentient part,
Hmm.
which is Chaitanya.
Right.
So that is not going to die. That will remain as it is. And the
Hmm.
only thing is, it needs to be developed. Consciousness needs to be developed. So
Hmm.
this is one of the delusion which is removed through this reading. And I
Hmm.
hope the other delusions will also be
Hmm.
rather
Hmm.
will not be there once we keep on reading this book.
I think this is nothing much than alignment or realignment. You know, when we drive a car and there's a slight disalignment, the car actually goes off road, and this is very, very irritating rather. And that's how we actually have, the problems half of the time. Everybody has misaligned cars, and everybody's driving and trying to get it straight, but it doesn't because the wheels themselves are not aligned. So that's a crude way of putting it, that how humanity is going forward, with misaligned wheels. Yes. So, yeah, I request anybody of the members to read. You can take the helm any time. I am not having any sort of.
Yeah, I can read. I can read.
Yes, yes, sure.
Okay. If if we search for the root cause, we find that humans alone are responsible for creating these circumstances. Another significant factor is the religious constitution. Our religions believe that humans are fundamentally sinners, ignorant, and selfish. And however, the reality is different from this. To deliver sinners, turn the ignorant into wise,
Wow.
and the selfish into charitable.
Hmm.
Each religion prescribes its methods, ideals, duties, responsibilities, and rituals. This
Hmm.
is very much apparent. What has been the net outcome of these efforts? So
Hmm.
far, there is no evidence of any ignorant person becoming wise, any selfish person becoming charitable, or any sinner being em,
Emancipate.
emancipated as a result of these efforts. Yes, here this is what Babaji is saying, that there is no outcome of these efforts, so which
Hmm.
are being propagated by the religions.
Hmm.
Rather, it is in every religion that they believe, mainly they believe that the everything is created by God. Here, Babaji is saying everything is created in God. So that is the basic difference.
Great, great,
So
great,
God is
great
still
pointer.
there.
Yeah.
God is still there. Only
Uh,
thing is, it's not by, rather it is in.
uh,
Yes,
Shalini has
yes,
also
bhai.
mentioned that creation is, what was the word? I missed it. Creation is a emergence. It's not as in there's no date or particular time that everything happened, but
Hmm.
creation was an emergence. Yes, Shalini?
No,
Hmm.
I said
Hmm.
गणेश भैया creation नहीं, emergence, प्रगटन है.
Emergence.
सहअस्तित्व में
Hmm.
प्रगटन है.
Hmm.
Hmm. Hmm.
हाँ,
Great.
Hmm.
बढ़िया.
Yes, that's what that line I was
I
reading
I got
today.
your intent. I got your intent, but I thought,
Yes, yes.
let's use the right words ताकि दिमाग में ना फिर सेट हो जाए आगे.
Yes, yes. Because I read in Hindi, that's
Hmm.
why I was not able to put in that particular manner.
Totally, we all have the same problem.
Otherwise, हाँ,
जी.
ब्रह्म से जगत है
हाँ.
नहीं, बल्कि ब्रह्म में जगत है.
Hmm.
जगत प्रगटन है, प्रगटन
हाँ.
वर्ड यूज किया. That's what Didi is saying. Yes,
हाँ. Right. Emergence. Yes.
yes, emergence.
Yeah. I
Okay.
believe we have 3 minutes. Shall we finish the paragraph, or we can have any questions that anybody wants to ask or any comment first? So I would like to thank everybody for joining us today. And we hope to meet again at the same time tomorrow. And we'll continue from page 27, I think. I'll just continue from there tomorrow. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vidya.